Hello, everyone. Good evening. How are you? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, Eight Cycles of Wellness. And my name is Tamika Russell. I am your personal life purpose coach, and I am glad to see you back again. I am the sole developer of the Eight Cycles of Wellness. And if you would like to know more about the Eight Cycles of Wellness, you can log on to www.eightcyclesofwellness.com. Today, we will be talking about a very serious topic, so hold tight and hold on to your seats. So, we are here today with Kim Smith, the one and only Kim Smith. Yes, everybody, I have found her. I searched out of Rockaway and all over the world. So let's let her introduce herself. This is the Kim Smith. Hold on, let's congratulate first. Come on. Yes, she has arrived. She is in the building, honey. Okay. So, Kim, what is the topic for today?
Today's topic is about suicide awareness and prevention.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So let me ask you first. Where are you coming? Where are you from? Where are you from?
I'm originally from Far Rockaway, New York, but I currently reside
I
in
just had to
Stafford,
say that.
Virginia.
Sanford, Virginia.
Stafford, Virginia. Yeah.
Stafford. Okay. Okay. Stafford, Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. So all the way from Stafford, Virginia, she's coming to talk to us about suicide prevention and suicide awareness. So
Yes.
let's pay close attention to this video because it's very, very important because this is something that is personal. This is something that is happening all around and it's closer than you think. So let's get into it, Kim. What are you?
I just wanted to let people know that when people tell you that they're feeling like killing themselves or they're not feeling quite like themselves, is to listen. Personally, I've lost like two people within the last 8 months or so. They died by suicide. We're trying to stay away from saying committed suicide because it puts such a negative and criminal connotation to it. When someone is considering suicide, you'll notice that they'll be withdrawn. Sometimes you'll notice they'll be giving away items. They won't do the things that they used to do, and things of that nature.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's not a lot of times people want to say they're doing it for attention. It's actually a cry out for help. But what a lot of people don't realize is that people have a suicide plan, and the suicide plan is usually the way that they are going to um take their life.
Wow.
You know.
Wow. Wow. So like you said, so there are different ways that we like you said we can help and look out for certain signs. So
Yes.
are there any factors that contribute to it? Like for instance, like you said, you mentioned some already, but
Hmm.
like besides looking for things like that, because like you said, sometimes they do ask you, do you have a plan? And you may say yes, but then sometimes people, when you do have a plan and you're kind of at that point,
Hmm.
you kind of start learning how to kind of, you start
Right.
learning the language, and you start learning how to kind of go around that. So you kind of say, no, I'm fine,
Yes.
and that's our everyday thing. How you doing? I'm fine.
Right. So
Everybody says
what
they're
I
fine.
when people ask me, am I fine? I say, do you want the politically correct answer, or do you want to really know how
Right,
I'm feeling?
right,
You know?
right, right,
And
right.
I mean, you can tell, especially if it's someone close to you. You could kind of see the signs, but usually, when people already have that plan, from what
Mm,
I've seen, because I've had people personally now tell me that they were going to end their lives, and they have,
mm,
unfortunately. And it's so odd to me because I deal with mental illness. I've been diagnosed with different mental illnesses. So you think I would have known and seen the signs, but I was just as oblivious as the next person. A lot of times people want to assume that that's a manipulation tool. And what I want to say is that when someone says that to you, you really need to take heed You need to really try to get them help. And worst case scenario, you might have to get them committed. I
Mm.
mean, because sometimes you have to take people out of their environment, put them possibly in like a stabilized environment, like a hospital,
Right.
and possibly try to help them and help them save their life.
Okay. Okay. And sometimes that's difficult because sometimes people they feel like they're doing something against the person by saying, you know what, I think it's time for you to get checked into a hospital. And then they're
Yes.
like, no, 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 I'm okay. There's that okay, I'm fine. And then you're
Yeah.
like, are you sure? And like you said, because people really, if you really in your heart don't want to be bothered, you're just kind of like,
Yes.
well, he said they were fine.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Suicide is very tricky. It's very tricky. From my experience, I know when someone is set on it, oftentimes, unfortunately, that's what they do. And what happens is when you're a survivor, you deal with a lot of guilt, right? Because you're gonna always say, well, I should have just known that, and I should have just picked up on that. And what I could just say is that you stay on the person. You let them know that you love them. Don't be
Mhm.
too pushy and all of the stuff. Oh, you just sad, and don't minimize how they're feeling.
Okay, I
But just
appreciate that.
I just want to say, like, love on them, right?
Hmm.
um Maybe just let them know and show them, how much they mean to you, because a lot of times we go through our day to day, and no one tells, especially when you're a mom and things of that nature. You're not looking for your children to say thank you, but it's like a selfless act. You feel like you're just doing this, that, and the kids take you for granted, or you're at work and your job take you for granted, or you get passed over for a promotion. So, you just start feeling like,
Mm.
oh, I'm at this such and such age, and people younger than me are getting homes and have better jobs, and you start comparing yourself to other people. And that's when the worthlessness and things of that nature start to set in. You start saying, oh, they better off without me. But
Mm.
it's all trickery, and it's not true. I just would like to, like, try to tell people to hold on, hold on.
That's important. I think what you just said was very important. That it can even start with people just simply not feeling appreciated.
Yes.
You know, and it's interesting that that can trigger, or that can be a domino effect to somebody feeling suicidal. You know, and
Yes.
how important it is to appreciate the people
Yes.
around you. Simple things. Saying thank you, saying I appreciate you, not taking people for granted, whether it be your employees, whether
Yes.
it be, people in your inner circle. Sometimes it's
Yes.
even people in your outer circle. How about a thank you? How about
Yeah.
somebody held the door for you and you just walk past, and it's like these people are so ungrateful. That can lead somewhere. And
Yes.
you may not even pay attention, but just a simple, a phone call. I thought about you, things like that. So that's interesting that you mentioned that.
Yeah, and it's just be kind to people, because you never know. That one thing, that smile you give somebody, a stranger, that hello, that conversation that you think is trivia, it's probably the world to them. It probably means the world to them. We never know what people are dealing with. Even people who seem to have it all together. Like Robin Williams, the gentleman who was the DJ for Ellen. It appears like they're like, oh, he was just dancing and smiling and thing with his life.
Right,
But
right.
people with mental illness, and I'm speaking from personal experience,
Hmm.
some of us can get an Academy Award,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Because we put this mask on, and
Right,
you will never know. You will
right,
never know. But
right.
sometimes it's in the subtleties, you know.
Hmm.
And I just, it's just check on people. Sometimes they're on your mind, or something's going on in the world that they might have had a traumatic experience, and they've dealt with something, and you know even be mindful of the movies that you want to go watch with people, certain songs that you send to people. It's just a lot of things that can just trigger and spiral and send people to this dark place.
Mm.
I mean, me personally, I know when I really get really dark and down, that's when I tend to go to church and want a fellowship. You know,
Okay.
um, I'm not where I need to be in my walk, but I've noticed for me that helps me out a lot. It really does.
Right.
And I also have a therapist. Getting therapy is
Hmm.
also good because it's okay to talk to your friends, but sometimes they're biased, and you might need, a professional and someone who studies this to
Bias
help
in
you
what
help
ways?
you. Yeah.
You mean your
So
friends are biased in what ways?
they could be biased as far as like they know your history. Sometimes everyone who you think is for you is not necessarily for you. When
Okay.
people are used to you being a comedian and always happy, they just want to always cheer you up, and they want to be
Mm.
like, "Oh girl, get over it," and not really taking into account that you are hurting and you need help.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? And some people are selfish in the
Right.
sense that they want to dump all their problems on you, and sometimes you internalize other people's problems, and you
Right.
need to just take a break. It's like or sometimes like energy vampires, people sucking your energy,
Mm.
and you
Mm.
don't even realize it. and
Mm.
and and that could, all these things, you so busy worrying about everyone else, and you're not taking care of yourself. And that doesn't just mean getting your nails and your hair done. It's deeper than that. It's so
Right.
much deeper.
Yes.
It's things like exercise and diet, which I struggle with all the time, but that has a lot to do with how you feel and your mental status as well. Because if you don't feel good, you know physically, you're gonna
Everything.
tend to be, oh, my back is hurting me. Oh, I'm not going out. I'm just staying in the house. You start feeling like life is passing you by and things of that nature.
Okay. Okay. I think that's so important, and that speaks to what you just mentioned. Literally, I was going to say, did you watch one of the videos? Because that speaks to everything about Vespium Health. Your
Right.
values, your ethics, your spirituality, your physical and mental health, and all of those combined in your inner circle.
Yes.
Do you have a strong inner circle?
Right.
Is everybody? Are you building up your values, your ethics? Are you aware? Do you know your beliefs? Is everybody in your inner circle, in agreement with that? Because, like
Yeah.
you said, if you're not in agreement with my physical health, and if you're not in agreement with my mental health, I need to reconsider our friendship. Because
That's
if you're not
exactly it.
building up, that means
Tearing
you're
down.
tearing down.
Yeah.
And if you're not tearing down and you're not building up, then you're kind of just a waste of space.
Exactly.
So I don't need you kind of like just in my space burdening me.
Yes.
Because now you're just a burden. Now you're just like taking up my time.
Right.
And my time is very precious. And if you're just a person that, you come into my space and you take up my time, or you
Right.
call my phone and you take up my time, and nothing's really being done that's productive or
No.
uplifting or anything.
Mm-mm.
So it's like, okay, that person is not a bad person, and they're not,
No.
but they're not. It's a non-productive relationship. Those
Yes.
people also are. They also can drain you.
Yes.
And so we need to really understand that if the person is not contributing to our values, what
Mm-hmm.
are our values? Do you know what they are? Because if you're
Right.
not aware of what they are, then you don't know if somebody's contributing to them. Our
It's
ethics, our
true.
spirituality, physical and mental health. So
It's
we have
true.
to really be in tune with that. And I really enjoyed what you said about, I really appreciated rather what you said about that we have to be aware of our mental state,
Yes. And
and about our
I know,
friends.
like I said, for me personally, and also for the two people that have passed away, I know it started to be uh like this isolation, you know.
Mm.
You start to isolate yourself. That's one clear sign. They don't want to talk to you much. They don't want to, do a lot of stuff. Like that's a big deal too. But also too, people need to respect that sometimes, when you're in a certain mood, especially if you have a mood disorder, that certain things like going to a club or whatever, things of that nature, you might not want to do. But definitely the isolation is another a big telltale sign
Mm.
of someone possibly trying to disconnect, and possibly thinking about ending their life. Also people who are like just angry, you know, because
Mm.
I know for me, when I go to visit my family, sometimes I tend to start a little fuss or argument because it's easier for me to say goodbye that way, right? So,
Okay.
you know, you like, oh, everybody's angry at me anyway, and you keep that going. So,
Mm.
it's in my
Okay.
opinion, sometimes
Okay.
people
Okay.
are just mean, and then they, just to keep people away because they don't want people onto them and to figure out, what they're planning on doing.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
you know, there's a walk out here. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, they do a Out of the Darkness walk. I've been there twice. And
Okay.
they also have like a survivor group for when someone does pass away. Um, and it could affect people in so many ways. And it also could start you to think about your mortality, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because since
Yes.
that has happened, I've known at least a good 3 to 4 people who have come out and said that they don't see what was so wrong in that person committing suicide, and they started to relate. And I could see why so and so did what they did. And I'm like, okay, here we go. You
Right.
know?
Right.
So it's just a trickle down effect. And you know, yeah, also too, we have to, like, what people shouldn't say. To me, it's kind of mean to say people are selfish, because a lot of those times those people who do die by suicide, maybe they were in a lot of pain. They didn't
Oh,
feel any
absolutely.
other so it's the stigma that's wrapped around it that really keeps people sometimes from even saying anything. So we got to kind of like get out of our feelings and just listen sometimes.
Right.
Listening
Right.
listening to someone is a very effective form of communication, not always just
Mm.
talking and telling people how we feel about certain things. People
Okay.
don't always want to hear that.
That's true. Can you talk more about the isolation part? Because after COVID, I know we were kind of in like a forced isolation, so it was difficult to come out and be
Yes.
around. And now it's kind of like a shifty thing. So people can kind of fake that. No, I just don't want to be around germs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The isolation part is really tricky because just from your day to day, people can hide it well, because you go to work, you come home, you're tired. But I mean, you could tell there's some people who are naturally introverted,
right.
so it might appear that they're isolating, but that's just like a personality trait that they have. But
Okay.
usually if someone is a close friend or family member, you can see the subtleties in them, and you can tell the difference between someone who's an introvert and someone who is just want to be like off the grid and just tune everybody out. I don't want to say pester people and be annoying, but sometimes you might have to knock on that door or do that wellness check,
Mm.
because you never know. You
Okay.
never know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's really interesting, and I just wanted to touch on that, like you said, because after COVID, and like you said, because of people's different personalities, you never really know if they're isolating or being, you know, like you said, if they're just expressing their way of being.
Yes.
Yes. So that's hard to do, and then like you said, you don't want to be a pest, and it's just like leave me alone, and then it's like now you lose a friend, or if it's but
Right.
so another thing about suicide is kind of like I know one of the questions that they ask people who are thinking about suicide, they'll ask them, do you have a reason to live? What is your reason to live? And if you can't give them like maybe a couple of reasons, then it's kind of like maybe you should be in the hospital. What's your
Yeah.
purpose? What's your purpose? What's your reason? So
So
talk a little about that.
are you saying a person who's contemplating suicide, if somebody, or if they ask you, why should they
Yeah.
continue to go on?
Yeah, like a doctor may ask you, what is your reason to live?
What is my reason? My personal reason to live actually is number one, I haven't accomplished all that I need to accomplish, right? So that would be my personal reason. And I would tell someone, you know, I would tell them to try to possibly hold on. You know, I don't know. Everybody doesn't have children. Another one would be my children, right? Because
Mhm.
there's things that they still have to experience that they haven't yet, right?
Mhm.
So, and I want to be there for them. You know,
Right.
um, it's just tricky. It's just tricky for. That's a tricky question. That's a loaded question. I would say for my children, and I would say for things I haven't accomplished yet. What other people would say, or what I would say to someone who was contemplating it, I would say that things will get better. It might not be right away. I just would try to tell them to hold on, right? Like I would try to let them know that I was there for them. But like I said, with suicide, it's like even if you do those things, unfortunately, maybe they might need medicine. It might not just be enough for you to just say those things, right? Because like I said, once people's minds are made up and they have that plan, it's only a matter of time. Because I've heard stories that people have actually stopped people's suicide attempt, but they
Mhm.
went on later to do it. You
Mhm.
know, it's something called like a suicidal ideations or whatever.
Yes. Yes.
They
Yes.
think about it. They, you know, fantasize, or it's deep. It's deep,
Yeah.
but it's a conversation that people need to start talking about. You know, that you know, there's a crisis hotline number now. It's 988.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
people are having those suicidal thoughts, or you know someone, I'd rather you be upset with me and I call someone on you than you not be here, right? I'd rather
Okay.
you,
Wait.
I'd
Let's
rather
hold
you.
on. I gotta do a thing on that. Wait. Hold on.
Sure.
Yes. You. That. I just wanted to do that. That little blowhorn. 988. I'd rather you be upset with me than me not see you again.
That's it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was key when you said that. So I had to blow the
Yep.
horn on that one.
Thank
Yep.
you. It's true.
Yes. Yes.
It's true. It's true. I just like when I write anything about suicide, I just say hashtag stay, right? Because
Mm.
I was begging the certain someone, because they told me several times that that's what they were planning on doing. And like I said, I beat myself up because I really thought it was like a unfortunately, I thought it was a manipulation tool, right? Because they wanted me to do something and I didn't want to do it. So I figured, because this person never would ever talk about that, right?
Okay.
The last person I ever thought would do it, but they said it, right? So when they say it, sometimes they say when people say something, sometimes you have to believe them, right? So just to be a little bit more proactive. But I don't think like um you could hold yourself accountable for someone's actions,
Oh,
even with all of
absolutely.
that I'm saying.
No,
I don't want to think, I don't want anyone to get the idea like, you know, that you could just save everyone, right? But you could
you
probably
can't save
save,
anyone.
you can't, they have to want to be saved, you know? But you can try to get people help though. You
Yes.
can. You
Yes.
can. And what
Yes.
they do with that is on them, you know?
That's it. That's it. And it's only within your reach to do what you can do within your hands. And I think that, and I always say that you're not responsible for anybody's emotions,
No, ma'am.
because emotions are so deep and emotions come from so many places, that emotions
Yes.
are before you, after you, and you don't really have anything to do with anybody's emotions, because emotions come from their childhood, emotions come from adulthood, emotions come from experience. Emotions really don't have anything to do with anybody else.
Right.
I mean, you may be a portion, but not really. So you're not responsible for anybody else's emotions.
Right.
That's what a lot of things stem from, because some people are driven by their emotions. Most people
Yes.
are driven
Yep.
by their emotions, especially when you're talking about a person that's suicidal.
Yes.
But I just wanted to mention some things, because we have a whole topic in the 8 cycles of wellness about mental health. What happens when you go to the hospital? What happens? Like I said, this whole thing is about my life, and I can relate. A gratitude journal.
Yes.
Being grateful. Waking up every single morning and not saying the same thing. Not I'm
No.
grateful for my life. I'm not. But then, like what you mentioned, I believe was very important. um, giving people something to be grateful for.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
giving people something to be grateful for. I'm grateful that I have these people in my life. You
Yes.
know, I'm
Yes.
grateful that I have, and then like you said, but if everybody is so mean and if
Right.
everybody is so unthankful and so
Right.
nasty, I'm not going to be grateful for them.
No. No.
So that's another thing. So just showing a little gratitude and
Yes.
and just like you said, being a friend, you
Right.
know. So that gives people a reason to live.
Yes, it
It
does.
gives
I
you a
mean, be
purpose.
gentle with people. Be kind to
Yeah.
people. I mean, a lot of times people are just so aggravated. Like, they're obviously going through something, right?
Yeah.
But in that moment, and like I said, I don't want to say guilty, but I was guilty of being annoyed, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just stepping back and going, okay, well, talk to me more, tell me how you feel or whatever. It's just the meanness of it all, and then
Yeah.
a lot of times people is this whole culture of, well, let me get the tea, so you want to know what's going on with somebody, but then do you really? And then you spread it
Right.
all around, so it's a lot of
You
trust,
don't.
right? So people
Mhm.
don't trust people,
Right.
because you don't trust people with that information, because then the next thing you know, it leaks out, and there's this big stigma
Right.
surrounding it, you know
Right.
um and people could lose their job, people could lose the loved one, and then they could feel like their life is not worth living.
Right.
It's not always the like they had a mental illness forever, right? Also, sometimes they could be on a drug. A lot of times some of these drugs that people use,
That's
unfortunately,
true.
it could be laced. It could
Yeah.
throw people off their chemical balance. You
It
never
happens a
know.
lot.
All of these things you know could contribute to wanting to commit suicide. So
Yes.
it's just something that needs to not be taboo. And I don't know if I said commit suicide, but I meant to say die by suicide. I want to stress
Got you.
that, because
Okay.
that was put in my head, and then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that is true. We criminalize it.
Right.
We stigmatize it. We're mad. We're angry. When it's really sad. It's a
Right.
sad thing. It really is.
Right.
Um.
It's a horrible, yeah. Any death or loss is always a horrible,
Right.
it's always a horrible thing, but we're going to think about, like you said, some ways to prevent it.
Right.
If somebody is listening right now, some ways to prevent it. Setting some goals, always having
Yeah.
goals in front of you. Always
Yes.
having goals in front of you. It could be short term goals or long term goals. What do you have ahead of you? Like you
Right.
said, some people may not have kids, or some people, like you said, kids get older.
That is
We
true.
experience that, our kids get older, and then it's like, okay, now what do I do with myself?
Right.
I know,
Right.
as a mom with kids getting older, it was kind of like, as they got older, it was kind of like, all right, now what? You
Yeah.
know. So then you can kind of lose your space a little bit. You become a little uneven.
Right.
And so you could so always setting goals. Okay. Kim, I don't know where Kim went. Okay. You lost Kim. There you
I'm
go.
back.
Okay.
Oh no, where did I
Okay.
go?
I don't know. I don't know. You just, I don't know. You're back though. That's the point. Okay. So
Yeah.
that's great. That's great.
Um, I
Setting
think a bucket
goals.
list is a bucket list is a great idea.
Yeah.
Gives people things to look forward to. A lot of times it's just people need things to keep on keeping on, positive
Yeah.
affirmations. You get
Those.
up every day, you tell yourself, I'm gonna be good today. This gonna be a good day.
Yes.
You know,
Choose.
uh there's therapy, art therapy, uh all type of things to get involved with,
Yes.
exercise, kickboxing, working out. And if you see someone maybe down and out, maybe you say, let's do some yoga. Let's you know
Yes. Yes.
just
And
distractions.
doing
Positive.
kind things for other people. like
Yes.
like every
Yes.
day you make that one of your goals. Like every day make that one of your goals, doing something kind for another person. You know,
Yes.
so if that's your goal every day, then it's like, okay, I have to get up, I have to leave the house, because I can't do nothing kind for another person in the house by myself. You know,
Exactly.
I have to leave out, and whether that person appreciates it or not, I'm going to do something kind for another person. You
Yes.
know, and that can get difficult.
Yeah.
But excuse me, but it's still, it makes you feel good, because eventually, or most of the time, I can tell you, most of the time you can kind of feel when it's time for you to do something kind,
Oh
and
yes.
you definitely get that vibe, and it gives you a reason to live, because it lets you know that people are still good.
Yes.
There are people
People are
that,
still good. Life is still beautiful, even though you're gonna
yeah,
have some ugly moments. That doesn't
yeah,
take away from the beauty of it all.
it doesn't.
Whatever you believe in, believe in it harder, study it more.
Yeah,
Um, I,
yes.
I just, just live. Just try to live. Just try to encourage people to live around you. Not just survive, but to really live and enjoy life. Right? Spend time with nature, because nature is
Mm.
amazing. We don't
Oh,
do it enough. We don't do it enough. I
yeah.
actually miss the beach. Not a fan of the
Uh,
sand, but I used to like to see the waves crashing and just sit
oh
on a boardwalk.
yes.
I miss that.
Oh, guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty. Listen, I say that all the time. I'm in Jersey now, and I gotta say, Rockaway had that beach. I don't care what nobody say. You gotta miss that.
That's
If you
it.
don't miss that beach, come on now. Yeah,
Yes.
you have to.
Yes.
And it was amazing, because let me tell you something. It's nothing like going to that boardwalk and just hearing those waves, or
That's
being
it.
able to get up and watch that sunset. Come
Oh,
on
it's
now.
beautiful. It's
What? Or
beautiful.
at night, watch that sun. I mean, not get up and watch watch the sunrise, or watch that
Sunrise,
sunset.
sunset.
It's amazing. It's
It
amazing.
is.
Like you said,
It
getting
is.
close to nature will help you to appreciate life in itself, And
Yeah,
sometimes, like you said, we have to put forth a little effort.
we do.
We have to put forth a little effort. You have to live to live. You have to
Yes,
live to appreciate life.
that's right.
You
You are
have to
absolutely
do
right.
you do have to live to appreciate life. So it's not just gonna, like, you're gonna sit there like this in a room in isolation, and you're just gonna be like, yeah, I want to live. Yep, this
Right.
is great. So you do have to move around a little bit. You do have to
Yeah,
start start by looking out the window at the trees.
it's true. It's
You
true.
know, you do have to, take a phone call. You do have to try,
You
because
do.
it's not simple for some people, but it is possible.
That's right. I mean, we all fall on hard times, but we don't have to stay in a hard time. We don't have to pitch a tent there, right? You have to move. Even if you say, oh, there's this movement or the secret or whatever. I want to manifest. Yeah, but you have to do action. You can't just sit there and manifest. You have to action towards your goals.
Yes,
And you
yes,
can accomplish what you want to accomplish. You just it's the mind. The mind is powerful, right? It could be exciting or it could be your demise.
yes,
It's
yes,
either
yes,
way, you
yes,
know.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like I said, words have power, and be mindful of what words you're saying to yourself.
exactly,
What are you
exactly,
telling yourself that's keeping you sitting? What are you
exactly.
telling yourself that's keeping you numb?
Right.
What are
Negative
you telling
self-talk.
yourself? Yeah, pay
Yeah.
attention. Or what are you listening to? Like you mentioned early on, the music.
Yep.
What are you accepting into your eyes? What are you accepting into your ears? It could even be
Yes.
what you're accepting into your body, because sometimes negative foods, foods that have bad effects on your body, can make you just feel like, I can't get up, I can't do this. It could be
Yes.
something you're listening to is so negative that it's just like, I can't
Yes.
stand people. What are you looking at? So how are we stimulating our senses is also
Right.
very important, because if we're dumbing down all our senses, then we're not going to feel like we want to live.
You're absolutely right.
So we have to stimulate our senses to make us feel like we want to be happy. Choose happiness.
Choose happiness.
Choose
Yes.
happiness. So
And we have to understand that happy is different for everybody, right?
yes,
Um,
absolutely.
Sometimes people are sad because sometimes you have to be content and people don't want to hear that. Everybody wants the Bentley and the big mansion, but sometimes you have to appreciate what you have because
Mm-hmm.
not being content causes a lot of problems in your life, right? So you say, I'm here, I'm going to appreciate this moment, but I'm going to strive to get to where I need to be. But in that moment, you need to be happy and content, because not being content causes a lot of problems, you know?
Yes, yes. Are you sure you didn't listen to the videos?
I have not, I'm sorry. But
Okay.
I'm going to go back and listen.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you didn't, because I'm gonna tell you, we're on the same page. We are on the same page. But we talk about contentment in one of them as
Yes,
well, because nobody can tell you when you're content, and I think
yes.
sometimes that contributes to like an aggravating situation. You
Hmm.
know, when people are like, "You're fine," and you're like,
Right.
"I'm not. Don't tell me I'm fine."
Ex-
You know,
That's right.
and so only you know when you're content, you
That's
know.
right.
So it's
That's
just
right.
like people can look at you and they can tell you what you have to, no, that's what will satisfy you, but that's not what
Exactly.
satisfies me. So material things may,
Exactly.
like you said, they may have a Bentley, so, because material things will make you happy, but that's not what makes me happy.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
know when I'm content. You know,
Yes.
I need a
Yes.
hug every day. That's what makes
That's
me feel
right.
content. You
That's
know,
right.
you need to see your Bentley shiny every day. That's what makes you content. But and
Right.
that's fine. But
That's
know
fine.
that everybody is different.
That stop judging,
You
because there's
know.
a lot of judgment going on,
Ooh,
and we
oh,
need to.
don't you get me started now. Don't start
Yes.
about that.
Yes, you need to be mindful of that, because not everyone's goals are going to be the same, and that's okay, you know.
Hmm.
It's a lot of this going around, that you have to have this, that, and the third, and it creates a lot of problems, even with the young children you see now, you know. That's why when they implemented the
Very.
uniform in the schools, it was a good thing, because kids didn't have to worry about, I can't keep up with this designer label, and I can't have this and I can't have that, you know.
But I tell you, let me tell you something. Though, what was so funny was that even in that, they still found a way to be competitive, because then
The
it became about the
footwear.
book bags. Yeah,
Yeah.
then it became about the book bags and the shoes. And then
Yep.
they, what did they do? They skyrocketed the prices for the book bags, because all of a suddenly $10 book bags became $200 book bags. And I said, why
Exactly.
book bags all of a sudden so expensive? It's because the
Right.
uniforms, because they started enforcing the uniforms. So now they start monopolizing, now they started raising the prices of the book bags.
Right.
So it's just like it's always going to be something. So
It is.
contentment has to be a state of mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Self-exception has to be a state of mind, because if
Yes.
you want to be competitive and if you want to be, there's always going to be something.
Of course.
There's
Of
always going to be
course.
something. So you always have to just train yourself to say,
Yes.
what does contentment look like to
Me to
me?
me. Exactly. A lot. It needs to be a lot more of the you think for yourself going on, right? We all have social norms. We understand that we have laws we have to abide by, but we can be original, unique, and we can be fine with that. It doesn't even matter. We don't have to
Amen.
always be like everyone else, and it's okay. And
Ever.
we need to
Ever.
be okay with how we are, and not
Ever.
always try to, be
Ever
what
try
people
to
want us
be.
to be. Hmm.
I don't think we ever, and I mean, let's look at it, we would almost be like insects, or we would be like, not, I wouldn't even say animals are not alike, but
Right.
I say insects because we can't really see them that much,
Yes.
so it's just like we disregard them because they just seem like ants, or insects. They look just alike. So we don't look at them
Yes.
as individuals, and we kind of, we'll kill one and not really think about it. But
Right.
but when you look at something as unique and something
Yes.
that you look at it a little differently, but people who
Yes.
study insects, they don't look at them like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because they look at them as unique, and they look at them, or they may name them. Once you name something that's unique, so when you start trying to look and mesh in, it's
Right.
just it's not okay.
No.
It causes a lot of problems. Because now you lose your identity.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, you stop appreciating yourself.
And it's
You
so good
know.
when you talk about insects, because there's an acronym. It's called ANTS, right? So
Hmm.
you say to yourself, you want to stomp out the ants. That's the automatic negative thinking, or automatic negative thoughts, right? So when
Oh,
you said
okay.
insects, that clicked to me, right? These are all
Oh,
coping skills that I've learned. I can't take credit for any
okay.
of it. But
Love
it's
it.
stomping out the ants, the automatic negative thoughts or the automatic negative thinking, right? So when you feel like
Okay.
you're down and you want to go down, and I don't want to be here no more, put put a different thought. Wait, hold up. I got this to do.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Right away.
Just stomp those ants out. Stomp them
Right
out.
away. Right
Yep.
away. I love that. 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 So let me ask you, I have two more questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you have said a lot. You have said a lot, and I am so thankful. I want to thank you for giving up your time and your knowledge and your experience because listen, time, knowledge, and experience is to me, that is the most valuable thing you can give up. You're not the most valuable, but that's a very, very valuable. Those are some valuable gems when you give up your time, your knowledge, and your experience because those are things you have to attain. And those are things that don't easily come. But I want to ask you,
Yes.
with everything that was said today, what would you say is your overall message that you would like to send home to somebody who's watching today?
So my overall message to anyone who might be thinking about ending their life, just know that there's someone here that's gonna miss you. They're gonna miss you so much, and you love them and they love you, and by you doing that, it might trigger them to also do that, and it's just a domino effect. So basically, I want to tell you that we want you to stay, hang in there. Just try to find someone to talk to, and if not, talk yourself out of it, right? If I could say anything, try to get some help and stay because somebody loves you. You are loved.
Amen. Okay. And you heard it first here on the Talking with Tam show from Kim Smith. Thank you so much, Dad. Now I just have one more thing because we can't end the show without a quote.
Okay.
So, Kim, if you could only say one quote from one person, what will it be? So let's just wait. We have to do our wait, that was the wrong thing. Hold on. We have to do our Okay, that means it's time for the quote question.
Okay.
So, what would it be if you only could quote one person, one quote?
So I got this from a corporation actually. It actually came from Chick-fil-A, and it's on their cup.
Oh.
And it says, "You are the best part of today." And I thought that
Oh,
was amazing. It
great.
says, "You are the best part of today."
I loved, and it came from Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Look at this here. Okay, well, we're going to, okay, you are, okay.
You are the best part of today.
Okay, now let's remember that.
Yes.
Yes. Now, listen, so I want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone. And again, Kim Smith coming all the way from
Stafford, Virginia.
Stafford, Virginia. And we are going to be going now, but we want to thank everyone, and please be here for the next show and the next show and the next show. And hope you enjoyed Talking with Tam.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay, so again, if you need more information, just email me if you would like to be on the show at 8 cycles of wellness tr@gmail.com. Let me know what you would like to talk about. And again, you can log on the website if you want any more information about the 8 Cycles of Wellness. That's 8cyclesofwellness.com. I am your personal life purpose coach. That's Tamika Russell, and I will see you soon. Good night.